Alrighty guys, so in this video, let's take a look at the unfortunate sell-off continuation that we are seeing in the South Korean market. KOSPI, SK Hynix on the Korean index and Samsung, what we'll take a look at in this video, they are continuing to sell off and their effect on Micron in the overnight session, almost over 3% down, and Sandisk close to just over 4% down overnight session. Overnight session too much doesn't worry me. However, this worries me for Micron and Sandisk because for the reason that if I go to the broader S&P 500, the overnight session is not that down. Okay, it's just 0.33% down. Considering definitely a lot of instability we have still in between US and Iran. Let's add Israel as well there, right? Like it's all happening in, it's all triangle together happening now. I'm not going to go into too much detail. You can draw your own opinions based on where your political belief stands. I'm not into any of that. I trade market technically, but I'll just quickly show you some news headlines here that Asian shares decline, oil prices rise post fresh US attacks on Iran. US military launched strike Sunday aimed at further weakening Iran's ability to strike civilian vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz. And the latest action followed Iranian drone and missile attack on US allies, including Kuwait, Jordan, and Qatar. Now, this is what is in the media right now. Again, sure, market are a little bit being affected. However, as just showed you, S&P 500 is not that in the decline on the overall overnight session. Yes, it's a little bit down, but it's not like really crashing. Okay, so it's not that you have a big red dip. It's just if you see down here where my cursor is, it's just negative 0.34% down, which means it on S&P 500 we are still we are still close to our zone of importance, and it's not that big of a fall technically right now. Can it get bigger? Well, it may, but I already provided you technicals to my members on S&P 500 what to watch for. You can definitely check out my members only videos if you're interested in that. Let's get to KOSPI right away, guys, because as we gotta look at this video, the South Korean market, right? So KOSPI continues in the decline, and we are continuing in the decline over here. As I have told you, the overall structure broke on this thing, thus at 8,000 almost, thus marking this structure above as a distribution phase. Okay, now on the hourly interval, some days ago I provided you this trend line. If you haven't seen my videos, guys, days ago, then that means you were not notified because you are not subscribed. So please subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out my videos, right? So KOSPI is still in the decline reference trend line, guys. Okay, and I have been saying that yes, these are just the rebounds right now. Whatever rebounds we are getting, don't get too excited. And even this rebound got sold off. Overall structure will remain negative on KOSPI, still at that 8,060 and so forth. Okay, below that you cannot look any upside. It will take some proper stabilization and a break of a significant level closer from above now and stay up here. Like if we, let's say this session or next session, if we somehow close the session green above 7,395, there's a possibility of stabilization and rebound build up here. Otherwise, no, we're gonna just continue to free fall. Let's move on to SK Hynix because this is also not doing any better. Now KOSPI is pretty much 50% over, is made of SK Hynix and Samsung, and so you can see we are continuing in the break of the structure. Yes, we got rebounds along the ways in last few days, but guys, we never regained even closer to strength of like 2.4. Well, when I say 2.4, I mean it's 2,461,000 zone. It just takes so long to speak that, so I just use 2.4 or something like that when I say it. So here on the hourly interval as well, as you can see, like the rebounds are just being sold off. I have been telling you guys these are just rebounds. Okay, we will have to see like strength close to the upside, then we have to take out the resistance zone up there, stronger one, then only there's a room. Otherwise, yeah, we're gonna continue in the weakness, and you can see we are continuing in the weakness still. It doesn't look good because SK Hynix here, and look, so right now overnight volume is just not showing up on neither on Robinhood, neither on TradingView for US listed SK Hynix. Now, is that's how it's supposed to be? I'm not sure. It's still just a day of debut on this thing, so I'm not sure. We'll see, but I don't see if the overnight session would show up on SK Hynix on the US side as well. That would have been amazing, which we don't see. But it's an extension actually. I think one, I can't remember, it's 10 to 1 or 1 to 10 something, I think along the lines. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that. Like one share from this SK Hynix represents 10 on US side, or I think 10 or 1 on US side represents 10 here. I don't know, just look it up, but it's an extension as what I know, but don't quote me on that. Now, so yeah, SK Hynix continues in the decline. Unfortunately, there is no right now upside here, which it has been in the weak structure, and I have been telling you that. Now we are continuing in the weakness. Next zones technically could be 1.8, 1.6, and so forth. So we are in the decline, and that's why SK Hynix on US side is not good to buy right now, since it's also an extension. Because as I have told you in my morning video as well, that if they would have debuted SK Hynix while it was going up, then it was really great time to buy on the US side as well. But while the South Korean side is going down, why would someone wanna put in the money on the US side, right? Because it's an extension still, right? So anyway, so SK Hynix is not doing anything good for you right now on South Korean side, declining. And let's get to Samsung here as well. Nothing changes, guys. This has also remained in the weakness below $312,500. And not dollars, I mean, whatever their currency these numbers are based off, but you get my point, right? So, and yeah, rebounds came along the way, is selling off still. So Samsung is not strong. You know, it may also come down to like 223 area or some sort. So right now it's weak. Look, if a session can regain and close somehow above 287,500, if somehow it can do that, then sure, there's a possibility of a comeback and a rebound. But if it doesn't do it, the weakness that we are in will continue. And even if it does that, 287,500, that will just be a part of a rebound first. Nothing, it's not going to make it overall bullish there, okay? Now, how is this affecting Micron and Sandisk? So let's take a look at Micron. So Micron, as I said, the only thing worries me, the overnight session doesn't too much worry me. It's only when in the relativeness to the overall market, there is much more weakness in particular stocks. That's the only thing. And we are in the overnight session. I told you this very zone, right? 950 for Micron. Look, it's an overnight session. Pre-market can reset it. When the pre-market opens, usually overnight sessions are resetted if the situation is not too dire. Okay, usually price snaps back, but it is already at a critical zone of 950, already a little bit losing below. Now, what I have told you in my last few videos, especially on Micron, I said that yes, this is a great rebound potential buildup that can push us to the zones above. We can still hold through the rebounds as long as we stay above 950. That's the price action structure. Now, if you see tomorrow it open below 950, guys, and that's what I have been saying, this is a transition phase. So these are rebounds building transition phase, but it's not a confirmed strength to the upside. We still have to gain a zone above. That is around 1030 area. So if you see it gaps down tomorrow in the pre-market, starts to hover below 950, and we close also below that, then you know our the strength bias is over, right? Rebound bias, sorry, the transition phase is over, which couldn't turn then overall bullish, and thus rebounds are over, and we are continuing in the overall structural precedence to the downside. Sandisk, let's take a look at that. Now Sandisk closer, well, in the strengthful rebound phase, just at that edge of turning around. Strong rebounds, as I said, right, will continue, but we are not fully out of the woods until we gain this 1940. Now, as I said, if we lose these zones below 1857 and 1763, but this is the near term zone, right? Then weakness will come back in most likely. It's at not too bad, 1856, hovering just around that zone. Okay, hovering just around that zone. I'll still say Sandisk is still a lot stronger than Micron, like it's now negative 3.18%, and Micron a little bit at still like just shy of 3%. These things overnight session can reset, guys. Okay, they can be resetted, but what I'm showing you is, at least for now, while the KOSPI is open, like these things are a little bit being sold off in the overnight session, are much more in relativeness to S&P 500. So and that's where you have to be careful, okay? Because also the problem is, these are not just the pullbacks. Pullbacks are something, a sell-off that you see when the price is going up. This is when price is going down, and a little bit of a bounces. Well, these are just the rebounds, right? Overall structure is negative. So that's where we stand right now. Let's see if something changes by the time market opens. Who knows, overnight Trump announces something and overnight session resets. But that's where KOSPI is. But the point is that overall structure is still continuing negative on those indices, guys. KOSPI's, SK Hynix on the side of Korea, Samsung, these structures are still negative. Okay, now let's see tomorrow if Micron can push through, can hold this transition phase, can hold these rebound phases, or if it's gonna break again and couldn't transition to the upside, right? As the levels I told you in the morning. So let's see what happens, but this is just an overnight update I want to provide you. If you found it helpful, valuable, please hit the like, subscribe, and with that, we'll see you in the next videos. Take care, bye.